All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Am I recording? Yes, I am. Okay. So welcome to our Q&A bonus call. I have a couple of exercises I want to take us through today. And just to kind of wrap up our month about intuition, learning to trust ourselves, I wanted to talk about why it is that we go back and look at memories, at least one of the reasons why we do that. I kind of have stumbled across some information about memories, and it really reminded me a lot of why we do this work, which is funny. But sometimes it's like the universe brings us things that we needed to be reminded of. And I came across this information about long-term memory and implicit versus explicit memories. And I really wanted to bring that to the table because I think it helps us understand why sometimes we might not have a specific memory, but we still feel a reaction to something. So implicit memories are things that really get stored in a very deep subconscious way, but we may not have an actual memory to back it up. We actually feel implicit memories through our emotions and through our bodily reactions. And so something may have happened to us in our past, and it's our body that remembers through this implicit memory, whereas we don't have an actual event or a memory to recall. Whereas explicit memory is when we can very consciously bring something to the table and go, yes, I have a memory, I can feel the reaction, and we can kind of put it together in that way. And I really wanted to just kind of bring that up because we can have these reactions, and we often do have these reactions from just day-to-day procedural learning that we experience in life. So this is just like, this is what I learned that the world is. It doesn't necessarily have to be a traumatic event. It's just, if I look back at my life, this was kind of a consistent learning that happened throughout my life, and it created this internal reaction. There may not be one specific memory to back up that reaction, but it's still a very real, visceral thing. And it's so important, especially I think in this group, to, even if something doesn't feel like it totally resonates, like, oh, that's not my issue, go ahead and tap on it anyway, just in case. Go ahead and go through the process of doing the visualization, doing the exercise, because oftentimes we may not have a conscious memory to go with, the things I'm talking about or the theme that we're talking about. It says like, oh, that's just not my thing. And it may not be, and that's great, because we don't have all issues for all people. But definitely go ahead and, play with trying things, even if you think it might not be your thing, because what happens is, as we say certain words, as we visualize certain things, if we, imagine colors coming to mind, that can be our deep subconscious showing us that we do actually have a connection to it. It's just so deeply embedded that it doesn't feel like our thing, right? So one example is people that come to me and they're like, I had this wonderful childhood and everything was great and my parents loved me. And so when I'm doing work on saying things like, I'm not lovable, they say, oh, that's not my thing. That doesn't resonate. And that may be the case. It might be true. But if we can just be curious about it and say the words, oftentimes people will feel a reaction, even though they feel like, I do feel lovable. I've had experiences that back that up. If we actually say the words, I'm not lovable, it will expose this implicit memory that's inside of there that maybe is there from just a time when we don't remember. So I just wanted to throw that in there. It's just another nice way to kind of back up like why it is that we're looking at these past memories, why it's so important to do that. And the visualization work that we do, because implicit memories typically aren't a verbal thing, we can see this information through our visualizations, through color, through texture, and through, of course, the bodily sensations in that way. So just a neat way to get into our deep subconscious. And when I kind of stumbled across that information again, and it was brought back to mind, I thought, I really think this is going to help my group kind of understand why it is that we're kind of like poking the past so much and doing that kind of work. So to continue our work today, I'm going to take us through two exercises. And the first one I want to go through to kind of continue with our, opening up our intuition and really learning to trust ourselves. I want to explore a time in our life when, if you look back, you kind of go, you know what, this was the time when I learned that the quote unquote unseen, whatever you want to call that, whatever's out there, whether it's intuitive information, whether it's spirit guides, angels, Jesus, whatever's out there, or of course on the negative side as well, like it's a time when we learned that whatever's out there isn't safe. Okay, so I mentioned examples like scary movies as being one of the things that kind of hides in our deep subconscious, because a lot of times now we're grown up, we can watch those movies, they might not feel scary, or maybe they still do. But you can imagine watching those things as a young child and all the things that we might have, viscerally taken away from that. And also like what beliefs did we take away from that? Like, what do I believe is out there? Maybe it all feels scary. So we closed our crown chakra and our sixth chakra and don't want to be open to that information because we learned that it was scary. So I want you to just go ahead and think of a time. You can go ahead and close your eyes and just kind of start to relax and take a deep breath. And I want you to just go ahead and visualize a time in your life when you learned that whatever's out there isn't safe. Okay. Whether you want to call it spirit, ghosts, whatever it was in that moment, it could be a lot of different things, but it's the unseen world. And I want you to just allow yourself to really tune into that picture and just take a look around at what environment that younger person was in. How old are they? What are they wearing? And just really let yourself see what's going on in that picture. And I want you to freeze that picture. And the adult that you are now, I want you to step in there and bend down and talk to them, whatever age they are. And I want you in your mind to just tell them, hey, I know you're scared and I'm here to help you. I want to help you through this. I want to help you feel better. I've got you. I'm supporting you. Okay. And I want you to just tune into their energy. And if they can show you, maybe they can have their energy light up when they're feeling that fear, when they're feeling that contraction, that pulling away, this sense of like what's out there isn't safe. Maybe they've just heard someone say something. Maybe they've seen something on TV. Whatever it may be, I want you to just see that energy, that contraction and that fear, that resistance pulling back away from it. I want you to see where that lights up in their body. Where do you see that contraction? And just take note of it. And then I want you to see and sense into your physical body right now and see if you actually feel that contraction when you're thinking about it. Okay. And the first round we're going to do is just helping them tap on the fear and tap through the resistance, feel a little bit safer. So just go ahead and tap on the side of the hand. And I want you to just stay tuned into that younger version of yourself. And they can either tap along with you or you can tap on them, but we're actually going to tap and voice and talk to them. Okay. So just tap on the side of their hand or have them mirror back to you. And we're going to talk to them. So just repeat after me. Even though you're afraid, it feels like what's out there is scary. And I can see why you feel that way. I'm here with you now. And it's okay. Even though you're so afraid, it looks so scary. It sounds so scary. And you can really feel yourself pulling back. All this fear, this distrust, this contraction, and this resistance. And I can see why it's there. And I'm here to help you feel better. And even though you have so much fear, and I can see it in your tiny little body, I'm here with you now. And I'm going to help you release that fear so you can feel better. And you don't have to carry it with you. And just tap on the top of the head and visualize tapping on them or have them continue to mirror you. All this fear, this scary thing inside of the eyebrow. It's so scary. I don't understand it. And now this is really confusing. I can't trust it. What I'm seeing and hearing is so scary. And I feel it in my whole body. On the outside of the eye. What's out there feels dangerous. That's what they said. That's what I'm seeing. I don't trust it because it looks really dangerous. under the eye, all this fear. I can't trust it. It's too dangerous. All this fear in my body, under the nose, all this fear, all this resistance, pulling back, afraid, blocking it, trying to push it away on the chin. And I learned in this moment that whatever's out there isn't safe. I can't trust it. Under the collarbone, I can't trust it. It's too scary. That's what they're saying. It's dangerous. I can't trust what's out there. Under the arm, I can't trust the unseen world. I can't even trust my intuition. Top of the head. Not now, it's too scary. And I'm pulling back. Inside the eyebrows, so afraid. So scared. So anxious. Outside the eye. Seeing this scary thing. And I learned that it's not safe to trust whatever's out there. Under the eye, it feels too dangerous. And this is evidence. I shouldn't mess with this. It's too scary. Under the nose. And I learned to block it, to keep myself safe. I can't trust it. On the chin, all this fear, all this resistance. I feel myself contracting, pulling away from it. Under the collarbone, all this fear. Can't trust the unseen world. Whatever's out there, it's too scary. Under the arm, all this fear. I'm really pulling back. Okay, good. Take a big deep breath. And just tune back in with that little person you're working with. And just see if their fear is coming down at all. I kind of switched from voicing like we're talking to them to kind of being in that person, but just go ahead and tune back in to them and see how they look. And see if that fear is starting to come down at all. And now I want you to ask them if they're a little bit more calm, if it feels like they can talk to you. And if not, you can go ahead and pause the video and come back to this and do a couple more rounds of just talking about the fear. But see if they can talk to you. And if they're still too worked up, you can go ahead and just keep tapping. And I want you to ask them, what are they afraid could happen? And I want you to make sure that you get a response from them, from that inner child. What are they most afraid could happen? And we're going to get a variety of answers here. Right? But usually it's something like something bad would happen to me. Something bad would happen to my family. We go ahead and just tune into that. Okay. And whatever they want to tell you about their fear, just let them talk. Now I want you to ask them, when they saw this happening, whatever this event was for them, I want you to ask them, what did they learn about themselves or the world from this experience? Okay, and again, there's going to be a variety of answers, but just let that information flow from them and make sure that it does come from them. In your mind, visualize that you can actually see them speaking to you. And if you have a hard time seeing it, that's okay, but just really visualize that you are having that conversation, tune into the energy of it, even if you can't see it. Allow your senses to be open. Maybe you'll get something, through your auditory senses. Maybe you'll just get a message that pops in your mind. You don't necessarily have to see it. Some of us are better at that than others. And some of us are designed to be better at visualizing, so that's okay. but what did they learn about themselves or about the world? Okay. What did they learn about what's out there? That's the next question. Okay. Okay. And just continue to let them give you information. And then I want you to ask them if they have any more fear, have them tune back into that in their body. We're going to do another round of tapping on that fear and that resistance. But I want you in your mind to just tell them, I understand. Okay. I know how scary this is. And then whatever information you have for them about intuition, about what's out there, you can start to talk to them in your mind and give them that information. And what you'll probably start to see is that what you believe now is probably very different from what you believed in this memory. Or you might also see that even in this younger version of you, there was still a part of you that very much believed that this was all real and safe, and that there was a very benevolent way to connect with the other side and the unseen world. And I want you to just reinforce that. Yes, that's okay. It's safe to do that. Usually they have some sort of recollection that that's okay, that we don't have to be afraid of it. Usually they're pretty excited to hear that someone's actually supporting that. They usually light up. It's like, wow, really? Because remember, when we're working these younger versions of us, they haven't learned usually to completely block that out. They're still pretty open. Okay. So let them tune into if they have any more fear about this. And before we do a little bit more tapping, I want to do something else. I want you to imagine that in front of you, in between you and that younger version of you, that you, in your hands in front of you, you're going to start to fill your hands with light, with a beautiful light in whatever color comes to mind, whatever sounds right for you. And I want you to imagine that this light is a seed. And inside of this seed of light, we're going to fill it with all the information that we want that younger person to know now. And the first thing we're going to infuse into there is all the information about how to ground, clear, and protect. Okay, so as soon as we give them the seed, they're going to know exactly how to do that. So just put all that information into that little seed of light, or that big seed, whatever it looks like. And then I want you to also imagine that inside of that seed of light is this information that tells them you are intuitive. It's okay to connect with the unseen world. You are protected. You are loved. You are supported. There is unconditional love and support for you in that unseen place. And it's okay to stay open to it. And I want you to just keep filling that seed of light with all the information you want that younger person to know. They are lovable. They are seen. They are heard. You'll be back to support them whenever they need. That their feelings matter. Their emotions matter. They have purpose. I want you to just continue to fill that seed of light with whatever it is you want to put in there, and see that seed get stronger and brighter. And then I want you to give it to that little person, that younger version of you, whatever age they are. And I want you to just see them take that seed and allow it to melt into their heart there. And as that energy and that seed of light spreads and grows throughout their body, they experience that knowing, that safety, that unconditional love. that unconditional support. And all the information that they need so that they know how to ground and feel safe. They know how to clear their energy. They know what that means. They know how important it is and how to protect themselves. And inside of that seed of light, they know that they are a powerful being and they are meant to be here and they are perfect just as they are. And I want you to just see that seed of light growing, expanding through them until it fills up their entire body, until they're just sitting in that seed of light. And then I want you to see them in whatever situation they're in when they learned that the unseen world wasn't safe. And I want you to see how they do now, that they're inside of this new energy and this new way of being and knowing. Have them tune back in, unfreeze the background, and see how that feels. And just let that energy expand and get bigger. And if they want to share it with the other people in the room, they can do that. I want you to just see that energy getting brighter and brighter, more and more vibrant. And I want you to just let them know that you're proud of them. In your mind, I want you to just give them permission to trust themselves, to know that they are magical, powerful beings, to be open, to know that they are supported and protected, they're safe. And this energy is theirs to keep. No one can take it from them. Awesome. Now I want you to see that same light, that seed of light that we put in that inner child. I want you to bring that seed and all that energy back to yourself and allow it to melt into your heart chakra right here, right now. Feel that same energy spread throughout your entire being. Let it get bigger and bigger. All that safety and trust and knowing and openness. And allow it to spread through your bones and out through your skin, into all of your organs. Awesome. And then before we finish, I want you to imagine that in this same space, all of the versions of you that have felt a similar distrust can join you. So the room's going to fill up with all these past versions of you. And I want you to see yourself sharing that seed of light with all of these past versions for as far back in time as it needs to go and as far forward in time. And that seed of light and that new knowing and that trust, all the information that they need to feel grounded, to clear their energy, to feel protected, to trust themselves, to trust what's on the other side. Allow that seed of light and all that energy and those colors to just fill up those past and future versions of you, lighting up each and every one of them. Beautiful. Okay. And before you go, I want you to bend down and talk to that little girl or boy, whoever's listening, and give them a big hug. And I want you to let them know you are so proud of them for allowing you to help them with their fear. And then before you go, I want you to just do whatever you need to do to sort of take down the veil between the physical world and the unseen world, so that they can actually see, feel, sense, and know that whatever's out there is benevolent, is kind, they are protected. So they can see and feel and sense whatever they want, whatever they're meant to see. And it's going to look different for everyone. But let them really tune in and get a glimpse of what that is. Beautiful. So give them one more hug. Let them know we'll be back to help them when they need us. And then go ahead and just let that memory and energy kind of dissipate and come back to the room. Perfect. So good. So good. So when you ask them what they learned about themselves or about the world, what do they know about what's out there? What you just got was all of the hidden beliefs that are hiding behind the scenes. Okay. So this is where you get those things like, it's not real, I can't trust it, it's bad, it's going to hurt me, whatever. There's a million different things, but those are all the beliefs that are hiding behind the scenes and kind of blocking us and holding us back. Okay. Now, if you had a child that still feels contracted, still feels fearful, then go ahead and just go back to that memory and do that same kind of tapping. Keep asking them, how does that feel? How do you feel? And just voice whatever they tell you. Okay. So you can voice the words that they told you. It's not real. I can't trust this. It's bad. It's going to hurt me. It's going to hurt my family. That's one that I got when I did this. Bad things are going to happen. It's evil, all kinds of things. And of course, I don't believe that on a conscious level. And even when I was younger, I had very magical thinking and, believed in all kinds of things. But there was a part of me, because of these experiences, that taught me that it wasn't safe and that I really needed to steer clear and stay away from it. So just be curious about what you get in there. Use the words that you get from that inner child for your tapping. And if they're still fearful, just continue to go back and tap on the fear and then give them that seed of light. Okay. And this goes back to the implicit memories, which is why I wanted to bring this in today, because we obviously can't go back and change the past, although there are people in the quantum theory world that say maybe that's not true because space and time isn't actually linear. But for our purposes here in the third dimensional world, we can't go back and change the past. So what we can do is go back and access these memories. And what research has shown us is that every time we think of a memory, every time we access something that's deep in our subconscious, we actually destabilize it. And we have the ability to shift it and change it. And so when we bring in higher consciousness and we bring in new information, things that maybe weren't reinforced in those younger years, we actually really can rewire these memories at such a deep subconscious level. And it's different from looking at only the conscious memories and saying, okay, I remember that, I'm going to consciously shift that. It's going into those deep places that maybe we don't even really remember. For example, we might have a memory of being 5 or 6 years old, but maybe we don't explicitly remember, all the exact details of why we don't feel good enough, right? We might not have all of the specific memories, but there's just a felt sense and like a wired in feeling that has been there since we were so young. So when we bring these seeds of light into these memories and into these old places, it's truly like we are planting seeds of higher consciousness, and that just grows in all directions in space and time. So it's beautiful. It's so cool. And the more you do it consistently, the stronger it gets. So what I would say is that anytime we do these things where we go back in the past and we really shift the energy around it, the more you can come back and replay that over and over again over the next, I think they say like 16 to 24 hours. our brain is extremely plastic and our nervous system can shift very quickly in those times. So that beautiful image of the seed of light spreading through and actually feeling that, the more you can recall that and rehearse it and practice it over and over again, the stronger that's going to be in your system. And you really are planting seeds of consciousness. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Okay. Okay. That is actually all I have for you today. I am going to upload this seed of light exercise to the Coaches Console portal. And what I would encourage everyone to do is I'm going to put on there's a section that says, what seeds would I like to plant? And this is really going to be your individual space to look at these things, to look at these affirmations, to look at these different statements and go, what is it that I need the most for me? What did my inner child need the most, right? Most times when I go back, like 100% of the inner children that I've worked with, they love being told that we're proud of them, just across the board. But what I want you to do is look back through this list, and do you need to be told you're lovable, you're perfect, no matter what? I hear you, I see you, you're kind, smart, capable, loved, cherished, you're adorable, you're enough just as you are, right? And so I'm going to give you this big list of things, and what I would encourage you to do is to go back and put a star next to the ones that really light up to you. And you might even practice saying them out loud. For example, I keep bringing up the you're lovable part of it, but a lot of people don't realize they have a block around that until they say out loud, I'm lovable. And then somehow there's this weird energy that, that starts to break loose and move, because they're like, wait a minute, something inside of me that doesn't feel truthful, or maybe there was a block around it, and just saying it out loud over and over again starts to move that energy so that we can truly feel it. But I'm telling you, going back and telling those little younger versions of us, or even the adolescent versions of us, I forgive you. That's another huge one. Or it's not your fault. Not necessarily an affirmation, but children have a tendency to internalize everything and make it all about them, and they think everything is their fault. So saying to them, it's not your fault, or it's not your fault, but there's actually nothing to forgive. A lot of times it helps just let go of so much old baggage and energy. So I'm going to upload that, and I want you to just go in and kind of see what feels resonant for you. What do you need to focus on? And that way, when we do exercises, we're going back into the past and we're creating the seed of light, or we're talking to our inner child. You know, these are my go-to. These are some of the ones that I know in this life I'm reinforcing, right? A lot of times for those of us that are super sensitive, your feelings matter, right? I see you, I hear you, like really being present with them. And they're like, wait, really? Really? I matter? My thoughts matter? My feelings matter? And they just melt, because that's what they've been longing to hear forever. So, okay, that's all I have for you today. I'd love for feedback if you're interested. And if not, that's okay too. What'd you think?
That was great. It was, I felt myself a little bit like in and out of the vision, mainly because I'm a little distracted, but also because I sensed like I didn't want to go in, or, yeah, I sensed like the memory was not a true memory, but rather like I was avoiding going into the darkness of that, like implicit memory. Anyway, but
Yeah.
it was good to see where the seed of light, like where I directed that, and like what memories I connected and stuff.
Yeah, cool. Very cool. Yeah, and if any of those memories that came up, like future, other past versions of you that were future to where they were, I would say just jot those down. And, maybe that's just your mind showing you like, hey, this could be an important place to go do some more work in here. Even if that is just going to that one version of you and continually doing that seed of light exercise. And it's such a cool way to kind of like infuse that love into those spaces that just are so contracted and fearful, even when we've kind of forgotten why, sometimes we don't know exactly why. So yeah, cool.
Good stuff.
Was the one round of tapping on the fear, was it enough? or did it feel like you needed more?
I felt like it was enough for me for this time.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it just didn't feel intuitively like I needed to do any more in there. I don't know if it was because I knew that we were doing the Seed of Light afterwards. I'm not really sure, but it just kind of felt like that was enough. So,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah. The Seed of Light was awesome. Like that was really surprising how safe that felt, or how good and how much safety it brought to a really big thing.
yeah, cool, cool. Well, that'll be a good one for you to remember just in general, you know, yeah, to take with you. Very cool. Thanks for